Welcome to the Learning Development Centre Induction from the School of Computing, Engineering and Built Environment. In this session we're going to cover an overview of the LDC provision and support, the academic year structure, the differences between school and college and university, timetables and independent learning. We're going to cover assessment, exams and coursework. We're going to cover lectures, tutorials and labs. We're also going to cover academic performance, plagiarism and the GCU Code of Student Conduct. We're going to do an overview of ICT at GCU. We're going to cover disability support, international student support, online etiquette and how to be successful. The LDC is staffed by a team of experienced academic development tutors with particular areas of expertise and skills, and we provide support for areas such as academic writing, English for academic purposes, mathematics, ICT and general study skills. And we want to help you to meet your aspirations and to become effective, independent, lifelong learners. Let's meet the team. We have Ursula and Josiane who cover academic writing and English for academic purposes. Then there's Calm and David who cover mathematics. And there's Melanie who also covers academic writing, but she also provides additional support for international students. And there's myself, Jim Canning, and I cover general study skills and ICT skills and a whole range of other things. The Learning Development Centre works across all the departments in the school, and we provide services and support for all students and staff of the school. How long is an academic year? Initially you've got 12 weeks of teaching, then there's a break, and then Christmas and New Year, and then any formal exams will take place for trimester A modules in the weeks beginning the 9th of January and the following week. Then there's another short break, and then there'll be 12 weeks of teaching for trimester B, followed by a 1 week break, and any formal exams for trimester B will take place in the 3 weeks starting with the 2nd of May. Also any modules that run across trimesters A and B with a formal exam at the end, that will take place at the end of trimester B as well. For programmes with taught classes during the summer, again they'll be across the 12 weeks, and if there's any formal exams associated with them, they'll take place in the 2 weeks beginning the 14th of August. If you have any resits from trimester A and B, trimester A or B, then they will take place during the third trimester. Any resit exams from trimester A and B will take place in the 2 weeks beginning the 14th of August. Any courseworks will typically be submitted during the trimester C. Heads up, the first 12 weeks will fly by. Before you know it, it'll be Christmas. So, what differences are there between school and college and university? At school and college, what you need to know is given to you. You're effectively spoon-fed. At university, you'll get pointed in the right direction of what you need to know, but you need to go and get it. What do I mean by that? An example is, how will your modules be assessed? What you have to do is read your module descriptors. Any links in this presentation will be included below the video. If a module has a formal exam, when and where will it take place? Again, you need to find out. You have to check out the exam schedule. This is usually published after week 6. If a module has coursework, where is it and when has it to be submitted by? Where do you look? You check GC Learn. And if a module has a class test, when and where? Again, you check GC Learn. So it's all there, but you need to go and get it. So let's talk about academic essentials. The web pages for the university contain a huge amount of information. So let's start and try to find academic essentials. If you look up the top right hand side of the slide, you'll see 3 lines. If you click on that, up will pop a menu. If you then select current students, then academic essentials, then you'll get this list here. There's a whole range of things in here, we'll just pick a few. Policies and procedures. this is where you'll find the GCU Code of Student Conduct. Then there's timetables and term dates. And there's exams. So if you want to find out when your exams take place, that's where you go. And then modules. This is where you find your module descriptors. And last but not least, GC Learn. So let's talk about timetables and independent learning. At university, you might find that you don't have scheduled classes on every day of the week, or even scheduled classes for every hour of any day that you're in. However, if you want to be successful, you will need to make effective use of your non-scheduled time. Here is an example of an old timetable. As you can see, there's several areas where there's 2-hour gaps, and there's also a day with no classes whatsoever. Here's a radical thought here. Use these times to study, and don't forget to have lunch as well. Now, students are expected to study out with the campus too, in the evenings and even weekends if required. It's just not possible to turn up for classes, not study and expect to pass. I can assure you, many have tried and failed. Every module descriptor includes expected total hours of independent learning required to fully understand the module. Here's an example. 110 hours. What does that mean? Well, it's saying for a typical 20 credit module, you're expected to study out with classes approximately 9 hours per week, and that's per module. And PT is part-time, FT is full-time, in case you're wondering. Now, assessment, exams and coursework. How will your modules be assessed? Generally, modules are assessed in 2 ways. A combination of formal exam and coursework. In that case, there would be a weighting of 70% for exam, 30% for coursework, as an example. Or coursework only. Now, coursework covers a variety of things. It could be assignments, class tests, online tests, practical work, or a combination of all or some of these. And courseworks come with strict deadlines for submission. So how do you find out how your module will be assessed? I mentioned earlier, use a module catalogue. You then search for your module descriptor using the module code. Now always use the module code. This is individual to that module. We do have modules with similar titles, and that can be easily make a mistake. That can be particularly crucial when it comes to exams. So when you're searching for your module, whether it's exams or the module catalogue, always use the module code. You then read the assessment criteria, which is near the end of the actual web page. For example, in this particular module here, there's 2 courseworks, 1 and 2. There's a weighting of 15% for each of them, and there is a written exam, and that's got a weighting of 70%, and the exam is 3 hours long. Now, formal exams take place during the scheduled exam diets I mentioned earlier. Trimester A, January. Trimester B, May. Trimester C and the resits take place in August. Most class tests take place during the 12 weeks of trimester. However, some do take place during the formal exam diet, but you'll get that information on GC Learn. So a module has a formal exam. How do you find out when, where it is? Approximately 6 weeks into each trimester, the university publishes an exam schedule in PDF format that contains a date and time and location for every exam, online or on campus, for the whole university. Students need to search the schedule using the module code to find the when and where the exam takes place. That's the link that will get you there as well. Here's an extract of an exam schedule. It gives you the module title, module code, exam date, start time, finish time if applicable, and tells you is the exam held on campus, and if it is on campus it gives you the exam room you have to go to. So lectures, tutorials and labs. On campus classes you do need to swipe in with your student ID card, and it is very important that you attend all lectures, tutorials and labs. Attendance is monitored online and on campus. Basic fact, students who attend all the classes have a much better pass rate than students who don't. Who would have thought it? At university, you are treated as adults and expected to behave as adults, and the onus is on you to learn. So let's talk about lectures. In general, lectures have big class sizes, can be 100 plus students. That's because one module can be common to different programmes, therefore a large number of students will attend the same lecture. In a lecture, typically questions are not encouraged. That's because the lecturer has a fixed amount of time to get their subject across to a lot of people. And at lectures, you have to learn how to take notes and pick up which points are important. Tutorials and labs. These are different from lectures as the class is split into smaller groups, and this is where questions should be asked. Most of the time it will not necessarily be the module leader that takes the tutorial, but another member of the module team, possibly. But the fact is, never leave a tutorial or a lab with unanswered questions. It's definitely the place to ask them. Don't be afraid to ask the questions. This is what the tutor and the staff are there for. Academic performance. Is it too early to be thinking about honours? The way it works is, by the time you get to your honours year, the end of the honours year, then everything you've done up to then, particularly in the third and the honours year for most programmes, will be rolled into a single number. If that number is 70 or above, that's a first class honours. If the number is 60 to 69, that's an upper second class or a 2-1. If it's 50 to 59, that's a lower second class or a 2-2. Then we have a third class, and that's 40 to 49. Heads up, I've never heard of an employer advertising for anyone with a third class honours. And less than 40, that's a fail. Now, the reason I'm showing you these numbers is, if you start getting your results in at any point during the trimester, perhaps after your first courseworks or class tests, then look at the results and see what area they're in. If your results are 70 and above, then you've cracked it. You've slotted into university rather well. 60 to 69 is still pretty good as well. 50 to 59, you maybe want to be looking at the work you've done, get feedback, look at the feedback and reflect on what could you do to raise your game a little bit. If you are in the 40 to 49 or less than 40, get help. Ask for help. You are crashing and burning. This isn't working for you. You need to get advice and guidance, and perhaps we'll have to learn some new skills. So from that point of view, your LDC is a good place to start. So pay attention to results as you get them and figure out, if I kept this going, where would I end up? The fact is, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. So if you're getting 40s to 49 or less, then you need to change something fast. Advice from first class honours students, this is students that have worked all the way through and got first classes. Treat university like a Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 full-time job. Especially third year and honours years, because they usually count towards your honours. Work every day, all day, even when you don't have scheduled classes. And work at weekends too, when you have to. Let's talk about plagiarism and the GCU Code of Student Conduct. The GCU Code of Student Conduct lays out the expectations of positive student behaviour and what happens when those expectations are not met. According to the code, plagiarism is the unacknowledged incorporation of the academic material, published or unpublished, of another person or persons, or the reuse of a student's own previous written work, or data presented for assessment on a previous occasion, known as self-plagiarism. Let's look at some examples. Using another person's academic material, writing, drawings, ideas and data without reference or acknowledgement, and that can include computer code as well. Summarising another person's written material by changing some words or altering the order of presentation without acknowledgement. Using the ideas of another person without acknowledgement of the source. And copying the work of another student with or without that student's knowledge. Using additions or corrections by a proofreader with relevant knowledge in the subject. Collusion with another student or other students. self-plagiarism we covered earlier. Reproducing model answers in whole or in part from any source in assessments and examinations. And then we have ghostwriting. Ghostwriting is defined as the use of commissioned material without reference or acknowledgement. Basically, you paid someone else to do the work and you're claiming it's yours. Ghostwriting is a major breach of the code. So what happens if there's an allegation of plagiarism? The allegation is made, an investigation is carried out, a formal meeting is held where you're given the opportunity to explain the alleged irregularity. Then at decision time, it can be dismissed with no action taken, or upheld with a sanction or sanctions being applied. So sanctions. More than one sanction can be applied, and the number and severity of sanctions applied depends on the severity of defence. And sanctions can range from taking a reset exam and or a coursework, using up a valuable attempt, all the way to expulsion, being kicked out of the university. So in summary, the GCU Code of Student Conduct is very relevant to you. So make yourself familiar with its contents. I won't lie, it's not an exciting read, but even if you find it, as I showed you in the earlier slides, you'll locate it, and even if you scan through the index, so it gives you an idea of what the content is. If at some point in the future something comes up, at least you'll know where to go and look. The consequences of plagiarism are very serious indeed, so make use of the readily available GCU resources to help you avoid it. And here's two of them: the Learning Development Centre and Cite Them Right. ICT at GCU. Important items when you communicate with the university: always use your student email, and it is typically made up of a username you've been given, which is usually a combination of your surname and your forename, followed by @caledonian.ac.uk. Staff emails are usually the username, sometimes it's actually the name, but it's all followed by @gcu.ac.uk. We're going to touch on GCU Learn, Microsoft Office 365, Apps Anywhere and LinkedIn Learning. So let's start off with ICT support. Again, start from the university homepage, click on the three white lines, and then current students, academic essentials, then go all the way down to student support, and finally, we're there, IT service. If you click on that, it'll take you to a whole range of items, all the way from home software, email, there's Forefront, that's to do with resetting passwords, GCU Apps Anywhere, which we'll touch on later, whole range of things, that's how to access it. Let's look at Apps Anywhere. This is a phenomenal resource, and basically you can run it from your home computer. You just log into the system and you can install a version of it on your computer. It will run through streaming through the university. So in this particular case, there's 198 packages currently available. There's a whole range of things. There's Audacity, AutoCAD, Camtasia, there's coding stuff in there. It's well worth looking at, a really useful resource. And then there's OneDrive and Microsoft Office. So as an active student of GCU, you have access to 1 terabyte of OneDrive space and Microsoft Office 365. And that can be accessed by these links here. It's strongly recommended you use your OneDrive and save your work onto it, so that way you can access it from anywhere you've got a computer. Then there's LinkedIn Learning. Now you go into LinkedIn Learning a slightly different way from the home page. You go to the library, and then you select online resources, and then LinkedIn Learning. There's a login procedure after that, and then you get access to it. And inside LinkedIn Learning, there's a massive range of top quality video courses. There's a huge range of courses with some phenomenal variety in topics. There's ones on emotional intelligence, there's stuff on MATLAB, there's stuff on AutoCAD, there's stuff on design thinking. Well worth a look, and it's free to use as a student. So let's talk about disability support. Each year, around 10% of all the GCU students disclose a disability. If you have a disability and you declared it when you applied to join the university, the Disability Service will assess your needs and will put the required adjustments in place to support you with your studies. If you've got a disability and you didn't declare it, perhaps assuming that what was put in place for you in school or college would automatically be put in place at university, I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. You have to contact the Disability Service as soon as possible to arrange a needs assessment. If you have a disability and decided that you don't need additional support at university, then please reconsider and contact the Disability Service anyway. It's wiser to have the support in place just in case you do need it. You don't necessarily have to use it, but you know if it's there, it's a safety net for you. If you start university and have problems, then it takes longer to get the support put in place rather than declaring it at the start. Let's talk about international student support. LDC provides dedicated support to enable students whose first language is not English to cope with the demands of studying in a different learning and teaching environment. You'll have the support to develop your language skills and your academic skills, and you can learn the tools to become active and independent learners. There's going to be workshops called Happy Hour Wednesday workshops running. There'll be one-to-one sessions and online resources. And that's something you're interested in, this will be the link. Again, you'll see that below the video. Now, let's talk about online etiquette. In the university, you're going to be communicating online with other students and staff, so there's certain things you really need to pay attention to. For example, when you're communicating with others online, do so with courtesy, politeness and respect. Just the way you'd expect to be treated as well. If you wouldn't say something to someone's face, don't say it online. Review what you've typed before you hit send. Could your words be misinterpreted? If it's an attempt at a joke, who could it offend? Respect the privacy of others. Don't share someone else's personal details without their permission. And remember, if it's on the internet, it's everywhere. Don't put your safety and security at risk. How to be successful? Quite simply, attend all the lectures, tutorials and labs. There's a very strong correlation between attendance and success. Submit your courseworks on time. Pass everything. Study constantly, not in bursts. Get into the study habit, make it part of your weekly schedule. Don't leave it to the last minute. And communicate difficulties quickly. If you have a problem, talk to someone. Your programme leader, your year tutor, your student association advice centre, your learning development centre. Talk to any member of staff. If they're not the person that can help you right then, they'll certainly point you in the direction of someone who can. And communicate if things go wrong. You are not alone. So we've covered an overview of the LDC provision and support, academic year structure, difference between school and college or university, timetables and independent learning, assessment, exams and coursework, lectures, tutorials and labs, academic performance, plagiarism and the GCU Code of Student Conduct, ICT at GCU, an overview, disability support, international student support, online etiquette and how to be successful. If you have any questions, email askldc@gcu.ac.uk. Thank you.